Yes, yes, yes. You are welcome here to this place, to this space, this right now moment, whether you on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Life Coach Ade Instagram account, or Being You Podcast Instagram account. Thank you for being here. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, and good day to you wherever you are in the world, and not just where you are physically, but where you are in consciousness. Whatever you're moving through, going through, and growing through, I welcome you, and I welcome all of it. And I encourage you to welcome exactly where you are. How what is happening in you is happening, let it be. There is so much power when you sit with the feelings and the emotions you're trying to push away. When you push, they push back. And they push back, and what ends up happening, you feel stressed, anxious, nervous, afraid. But when you accept that this is what I'm feeling right now, this is it. I feel heavy. I feel sad. I feel excited. I feel joyful. Just accept it. Don't do too much intellectual masturbation, I call it. Just be with it. And what you're feeling would take you, it would pass because everything passes, whether it's feeling good or feeling bad. It's all going to pass anyway, you know? And the next moment becomes what you've created it to be because you welcomed the one before. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for saying yes to life. And as you tune in to yourself and you give yourself permission to listen and to be transformed. So I am grateful, thankful that you are here. Give me a moment here. Hey, New Jace, nice to see you. Sister Soyinka is in the house. Want to make sure, looks like sound is fine. Mute that phone. Kim is in the house. Nice to see you once again. It's been a while. Let's just take a deep breath together. Understand that this is more than just something that I do on a weekly basis or a place where you hang out because you want to hear me or because you know something's going to be inspired. But recognize that this is a spiritual practice. This is a soul agreement. This is you showing up because something in you wants you to hear it. And so I am in a privileged position behind the mic. Well, the mic is sideways, but it still picks up to echo what you already know. And not just echo what you already know, but also support you in seeing it differently. And when you shift your perspective, you shift your consciousness, expansion happens. So really, this is an expansion party. This is an opportunity for you to grow, to develop, to transform. And if you're wondering, if you're new, you're like, who the heck are you anyway? Talking about I'm echoing what I know. You don't know me? Oh, yes, I do. You know why? You know how I know you? Because I know myself. I am one with it all. I am Ade, your transformational beingness artist. So I want to welcome you to another episode of Ade Presents Being You, the podcast, the journey back to yourself. That's what this is about. Everything in life is returning you back to yourself. Father Richard Rohr, if you don't know him, Google him. He's a powerful mystic. The way he just brings life, all the religions and spiritual wisdom, he ties it together in the way that makes sense. In a world where we think, nope, I'm religious, nope, I'm spiritual. Like one of my dear friends said recently, oh, the grand rising people. She said the Christians, the religions, and the Muslims, and the grand rising people. I fell out. Grand rising. All of us, we are connected. There's a web. We're interconnected. So Father Richard Rohr would often say we go through this journey, paraphrasing him, we go through this journey where we start with order and then there's disorder. So the order for me, when I listen to him and how it sits for me is we come to this planet, onto this earth in order with the divine will, with God's will. We are the place where God, the divine, the most high, gets to reveal itself. We have a special assignment, just like every cell in the body has an assignment. So we come from that place of divine order. And then those who came from that place of divine order, who got afraid, forgot who they were, listened to other people, they sort of they fell into this disorder place, or because they say in the name of love, they give us inspiration. Well, I don't know if I want to call it inspiration. They give us stories and ideas to keep us safe, and sometimes they're coming from fear. We take it on board and then we interpret it. Hey, Ashley, nice to see you. So we move from order to disorder. So this life journey, whether you call it spiritual journey, religious journey, atheist journey, whatever journey, humanist journey, activist journey, on an individual level, on a collective level, we must go back to the original self, not the original, what is it, sin they call it? Father Richard Rowe calls it the original goodness, the original blessing. We must return to the truth about us, regardless of what statistics is saying, what doctors are saying, whatever survey is saying about your race, about your gender, your sexuality, your country, your faith. All of it is an interpretation of that thing that is beyond definition. So it's important for us to go from order, and we experience the disorder, and allows us to come back to, so we can see ourselves. The contrast is good. So we come back to ourselves with reorder. Like, wait a minute. I'm recognizing right now that there's absolutely nothing wrong with the Bible. The Bible is a story, is an interpretation, is a point of view about the Most High, about the divine. The Quran is another point of view. The Bhagavad Gita is another point of view. Whatever sacred books that you read, A Course in Miracles, Conversations with God, The Power of Now, The Sacred Yes, Your Deepest Intent, How I Use Truth, name it. The Game of Life and How to Play It. Those are the classic books. They just, all of them, not just as in I'm minimizing them. I'm not minimizing them. They show us another aspect of who we are. They communicate truth. They reveal to us who we are. They echo what we know. So when we say this book changed my life, yes, a book changes your life, but what the book did as well is reveal you to you that you ain't crazy. Or maybe you are crazy, and that's okay. Hey, Quali, nice to see you. And the conversation here on the show every week is really about returning us back to the original blessing, the original goodness, the truth about us. I'm here to affirm what is true. I'm here to affirm what is true in me, in you, in society, even in the midst of the foolishness, the midst of the crazy, in the midst of the chaos. And all that's really needed are people who are going to commit to holding the vision of possibility, the vision of love, of connectedness, of joy, of playfulness. That's all that's needed. Now, these principles of love, of beauty, of connectedness, you talk about, it's like, yep, love, peace, unity. Oh my God, yes, that's what we need. Common humanity. But you know what? It's going to call for you. It's going to ask you to strip of the bullshit that you have in your own belief system, the BS that you have in your BS, because you have, by default, bought into other people's idea of life. So in order to create a life, a space, a life, a society that's rooted in compassion, restorative justice, we must cleanse ourselves too. I want to go to one of the quotes that I use for on my email. And it's a quote by Alice Walker. It just makes sense. Just popped in my head here. And since this is live, I get to go to it and read it. I mean, think about this as you hear me read this. Speaking of shifting consciousness, being different, moving from disorder to reorder, because divine order is who we are. Alice Walker said, I think we have to own. I have to own that I wear glasses. I think we have to own the fears that we have of each other. I can just stop right there for a minute. We have to own the fears that we have of each other. And then, in some practical way, that's the powerful thing. In some practical way, some daily way, figure out how to see people differently than the way we were brought up to. I think we have to own the fears that we have of each other. And then, in some practical way, some daily way, figure out how to see people differently than the way we were brought up, than the way we were brought up to. Alice Walker. That's right there could be today's conversation. It really is. Because we're searching for something. We're searching the topic, the title today, the theme is stop searching for what's not missing, for what isn't missing. We're searching for something that's not missing. We're searching for love and think it's missing. We're searching on connectedness, but it's right here. When we say we are the ones we're looking for, the ones we're waiting for, because we are the one. And one of the ways to embrace that idea is to recognize that you are here right now. You are in this moment. You can't be anywhere else. And if you are able to shapeshift, teleport yourself somewhere else, you are there. You may be there and here, but it's all going to be here. It's there because I am here. But when you are somewhere else, if you can make yourself be in other places and you say where you are, you're going to claim I am here. You're here, you're present, and you are now, because now is all there is. Now is the only thing that's happening. We can look at the past, and there are things about the past that we don't like, that caused us pain, maybe for societal pain, maybe it's family pain from the family man. But yes, that happened. But what are you going to do right now? What am I going to do right now? What are we going to do now? Because we don't believe we can change it now, or because we spend more time thinking about what happened then in the past and how bad it was, it's a shame. I feel shame. I feel guilt. I'm traumatized. Generational trauma. We don't get to move forward. We get stuck. We get frozen. And then we don't grieve. We don't show our emotions. Now, I'm not saying that as a judgment. I'm saying that it's just part of the experience of being human. There must come a time on your spiritual journey where you rise above, where you transcend. Even if you look at what happened and say, I don't know how any human being could have done that. Well, you probably would never know. And the truth is, you don't want to know, because if you know how someone could do something so atrocious, something so horrible, something so evil, guess what? Now you got the idea in your own mind. Now that you've seen it, you've accepted it into your own mind, you might just do something like that without even trying. Like, oh my God, did I do that? Yep. Did I do that? Oh yeah, you did. Sometimes it's not even about understanding the evils of the world. It's remembering who you are, remembering the truth, remembering our spiritual nature, your spiritual nature. Hey, Nisi, nice to see you. Good day to you as well. Tommy. Ashley said, we get to spend ourselves elsewhere. That's interesting. When we stop buying into BS, medicinal indeed. Okay, yes, we get to spend. I like that. We get to spend ourselves elsewhere when we stop buying into BS. Yes, and you tend to your BS, your belief system. Hey, Tommy. Tommy said, yes, yes, and more yes. Thank you, Ashley. Tommy was feeling that in his core, like that is the truth. And we're living in a time where we are meant to transcend. We are being called to rise above. So I'm going to rise above and come back and get into that and tell you this is season 4, episode 29. Today's Tuesday, August 16th. 2022, being used as an invitation. I'm inviting all of you right now to ask yourself, how do I see myself? Like, yes, you may have done that before. You may have done it 5 minutes ago. You know how you see yourself. I know who I am. Yeah, but in this moment, just take a deep breath and ask, how do I see myself? Give yourself the space and the time to hear differently, to hear something new, to catch a new thought. And then, how do I see the world? How do I really see the world? In truth, do I see the world as a place that I consider to be safe? Or a world where there's so much evil and I don't feel safe? That there are more people hating than loving? Or more people loving than hating? It really doesn't matter how you see it. It does, but it doesn't. What really matters, what is more important, is what you do with what you see and what comes up for you. Because when you know where you are, when you know the truth about how you are seeing the world, you make different choices. If you don't like what you see, if you feel like in your soul there's another way to see what you're seeing, or maybe in your soul you think this is the way I want to see it, guess what? Don't stop there, because it gets better. My dear friend and mentor, she's really a mentor now to me, said, I won't go into the long story, but I'll share the last thing she said in a statement. Like, when we do what we need to do and we're aligned and getting information, and we recognize that who we are working for, working with, we don't just we don't just get something better than where we are. Now, we don't get what we want, we get something better. See, sometimes we want things a certain kind of way, and we know that's what we want. I mean, come on, it's been on my vision board. I've been praying for it. I see other people getting it. Why can't I have it? That's what I want. That's what I want. But your soul is saying, oh, my little self, my daughter, my son, my brother, my sister, myself, you really don't want that. What is really clear is, first of all, you want the feeling that comes with attaining and achieving that thing that you think you want. It's not even going into want, need. You don't want anything, want, me. Yeah, want means you think it doesn't exist. Yep, we can go to that. But it's the feeling. How's it going to make you feel when you have that thing that you say you want, you need? That's really what we're going for. So when you're listening to guidance, when you're willing to slow it down, when you're willing to pay attention, when you're willing to go through life, especially when it feels painful, and say, I'm not going to run from this pain. I'm going to check in with myself and see if I'm supposed to move through this alone or reach out for help. But you know what? Either way, you're never going to go wrong. Because if you reach out for help and you're supposed to be with yourself, assuming you find a person who's tapped in, not trying to impress you, somebody who's wise, who's listening to a deeper voice, a higher voice, that will bring you back to yourself and remind you need to just be quiet. There is power when you sit with the medicine of that's known as nervousness, being scared, being anxious, being depressed, being afraid, feeling lonely, feeling needy, feeling poor, feeling like you're in lack. There's power. It's medicine. If you can sit with it long enough, eventually you find yourself like you're in it, like in a bubble. Remember when they're saying be in a bubble during the COVID? Well, it's hard to say during, but you know what I mean. In the early stages of COVID-19. And now Facebook will put information about COVID-19 because I'm saying COVID-19, which is ridiculous, but I won't go into that. When you sit in the bubble of pain, the bubble of struggle, the bubble of brokenheartedness, when you breathe and you accept it. Now, I'm not inviting you or telling you to just like, okay, my life ain't. No, just accept that is what's happening right now. And do the things you need to do. So whether it hits you as soon as you wake up in the morning, what do you normally do when you're not feeling heavy and sad? You do your spiritual practice. Maybe you get up and do an exercise. Maybe you do yoga. Maybe you kiss your beloved. Maybe you go wake your children up. Recognize and accept that that's what's happening and do that. Because the minute you go, oh my God, I'm still feeling this. Why am I feeling this? That's fine too. You're going to learn from that. But if you spend too much time thinking, why is this happening? Why can't I break through this? Then you have more thoughts telling you why you can't break through it. And you start thinking, my life is not working. It must just be me. You look at your beloved who's sleeping next to you, or maybe you don't have a beloved. You look to the one sleeping next to you and say, what a waste. Or you look and say, see, I don't have a beloved. But when you accept it, oh, you are opening your heart. That's called being open to life, to take you to where you need to go. Life is good. It's getting better. And it's important to ask yourself, how do I see myself in the world? And how do I see the world in me? Because it's one and the same. One and the same. And that's my intro for today. Woo! Speaking of intro, let me tell you, first of all, what I want to invite you to do is share this show right now. Not just because I'm asking you to, but because I know that someone needs to hear it beyond you. Okay? The world needs to hear it, but we're sharing it without attachment. It's like, here it is. This is basically all you can eat. It's an all you can eat restaurant. As long as you pay your money. Now, they will kick you out after a certain time, I've heard, because some people could take it down. After I get on the second plate, even the second plate is just because, come on now, you're in an all you can eat restaurant. Some people, I envy them. But anyway, this is an all you can eat restaurant. It's a spiritual restaurant, and people can have as much as they want. Pull away whenever they're ready. Have the dessert, have the main course, the appetizer, whatever. But they would have to pay in order to get it is to click this. Because you can go to a restaurant and go, I'm hungry. I don't like Africans. I don't like Nigerians. I don't like Jamaicans. I don't like Indians. I don't like English. I don't like Scottish. Okay, keep moving then. If you don't want the food they're serving, keep it moving. Go to a place that you know will just feed your soul. And sometimes you just got to surrender. Sometimes you just got to say, here we are. I'm willing to try something different. Who am I talking to? I'm talking to the people who are yet to click the link that you just shared. And those of you on YouTube, please share, like, subscribe. And if you're not on YouTube, go there and subscribe. youtube.com/Life Coach Ade/Life Coach ADE. I got an announcement, and then we're going to go deeper with today's topic. Stop searching for what is not missing. Next week, I won't be here. I am thinking about pre-recording, but I'm not sure if I'm going to have time to do it. So I think it's just easier on everybody. I won't be here next week. So don't go, where is it? You go on IG. Oh my God, like the Home Alone kid. I can't find him. You can if you listen to the archive. Because every time you listen to the shows, if you go back and listen, you're going to hear something you didn't hear before. It's going to hit you differently. It's going to hit you differently because you're different. Anyway, I'm going away for a 5-day wellness retreat. I'm leaving on Monday and be back on Friday. So I'll be back in 2 weeks' time. I'm looking forward to that. Let me see. Anything I need to address right now in the chat box, chat room? Kathy, life is good. Life is good and it's getting better. Yep. Thank you, Kathy. Yes, that was a good intro. I'm like, whoo, I'm ready now. That was a good intro. New Jay said, what's an intro? What intro? You know, everything I just did, that was an intro. That was just like to let you know what's about to happen. That's what I think anyway. You know, I mixed the time and the date and everything. You know, yeah, I know. That's anyway. Let's take a deep breath because now we're moving from the appetizer and now we're going to go for the main course. You're going to eat as much as you want. Make sure you do share now. And if you don't share, you're greedy. You're operating from a lack consciousness. Sometimes, you know, like when you eat and there's something on your plate that you don't like me, I'm not a fan of Brussels sprouts, mainly because of the smell. Mushroom, let me use mushroom because I don't like mushrooms. You don't like mushrooms? Nope. And I don't care how much you love mushrooms. I don't like mushrooms. So I may be eating something that's good and there's mushrooms on there. And I was like, ugh. So when I get crazy, when I say things that you're like, I'm not buying, just use your fork or your knife to just move the crazy to the side. Like, here he goes. That's who he is. Just move it out of the way. Anyway, stop searching for what isn't missing. I got some questions for you. And I want to. New Jay's comment is like, what's an intro? Which one? That was not an intro. Well, hey, it was to me. I want you to really make space in your heart, in your mind for these questions. Some of the questions may resonate with you, and some it's like, maybe. No, not real. Because this is more than just listen to a podcast. This is your spiritual journey. What are you searching for? What are you searching for? What are you looking for? What do you need? What do you want? What do you desire? Now, I'll speak for those of us in the spiritual community. Sometimes we can get very intellectual, like, I don't want anything because I am one with God. Yes, that is the truth. But that truth means nothing unless it's embodied. When you embody what you know, your presence demonstrates what you know. So even if what you know is not for your highest good, or if it's for your highest good, when you embody it, you live it, you speak from it, you create from it, you take action from it. There are things that we've embodied that it's time to release. It's time to release it because it's causing us to search for things that are not missing. What would make your life complete? Don't lie. Don't you dare lie to me. But you can lie to me because it doesn't matter. As long as you can tell yourself the truth, that's what's important. What will make your life complete? What do you think you need in order to really accept that you are enough, worthy, loved, safe, secure, and protected? What do you think you need? What needs to shift? What idea are you waiting for? What I do, you're waiting to wake up too, in order to know that you are enough, that you are loved, that you're protected, that you're safe, that you're secure, and to accept that where you are is exactly where you need to be, and you are with the right people. What would need to happen? This is not a trick question. This is question to help you release what wants to be birthed. Because even if you say the people that I'm with, they're not the right people, great, but what would you need for you to be with the right people? Like, no, I can't accept that I'm with the right people. Okay, great. But what do you need to see? What needs to happen? What do you need to do? Who do you need to be for that to be your reality? Are you looking for God? Are you looking to connect with God? Are you looking to be more loving, more forgiving? Do more spiritual practice, being able to stand on your finger. Like you upside down and you got one finger, you can stand there and you'll be closer to God. Are you looking for God? Are you afraid of dying? Are you comfortable talking about dying? Sometimes I'm comfortable talk about dying. Sometimes brings up some fears. And the strange thing is, I think more about dying, particularly in the last 2 years, more than ever. That almost feels like a confession because I think that's the first time I've said it out on a podcast. And I was like, what is this about? But I'm recognizing that I'm recognizing that eventually I'm not going to be on this planet. Eventually I'm going to release this body. Namaskar, Williams. Namaste. Welcome. Eventually you're going to release your body. Have you made space to really sit with that? When you leave, whatever that is, do you think your loved ones, your friends, your family members, would they feel like you gave them your best? That you loved them and you showed it? Or are they going to be like, whew, there's an actress. It's funny. She keeps coming up in conversation. I was doing a counseling session for someone yesterday and I'm like, ooh, I'm going to use this as an example. But spirit leads you to where, let me speak for myself. Because of the work I do, supporting people, but mainly from a spiritual perspective, like doing counseling, spiritual direction, going deep, spending time in that shadow place, that dark place. I'm led to different things that I'm like, okay, why am I saying that? Sometimes it's a song that I'm hearing, and hopefully I get to share something else that happened today for the show. So on YouTube, I saw the title. I think it said, I am glad my mother died. Something like that. I'm not going to Google it. You can do that. You can search on YouTube. And it's an actress who wrote a book, I think a memoir. And at first I was like, ooh, that's kind of crazy. Not crazy from a judgmental, not that I'm judging her like, whoa, I'm glad my mother died. One thing it will do, it make people want to read the book, draw attention. It would even cause people to talk about it on a podcast. So she's achieving her goals. Then on what's her name? Ammon Paul and Friends. She's on PBS. There was another clip that I saw another day or later that day. I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago. And it was this lady as well that was being interviewed. And I started listening to it, a few minutes of it. And of course, when you make statements like that, there's a reason why we say things like that. And the bottom line, it sounds like she had a difficult time with her mother. And it's like, yeah, I get it. So when you leave your body, when you leave this earth, is somebody going to say, I'm so glad she's gone? I'm so glad he's dead. And the gladness could be, Maybe you happen to be ones having pain in the body. When you release the body, they're glad. But what I'm saying is that you just cause so much havoc, all in the name of love. People killing and demonizing and passing laws and shit that people do, all in the name of love. You kill another human being, all in the name of love. You stop another human being, all in the name of God. You go to war, all in the name of love, all in the name of God. You pass laws saying God is excited doing it for God. No, you ain't. Shut the fuck up. Excuse me. Not that I don't swear, but I am like, whoo. If you have children, they're like, mommy, daddy, he said a bad word. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. I apologize. I was just in a moment. I said a bad word. But hopefully your parents, your auntie, your uncle will explain to you more because, right? It came out my mouth. I didn't have time to censor it or filter it or change it to flip flop. It just came right out. When you are large, you never know what's going to come out your mouth. But I know we got to protect the ears of the children, but we also got to educate them and tell them the truth. I digress. What are you looking for? What are you searching for? Your higher self, your inner being. I'll leave that other conversation alone. Because you know what I mean. Are you seeking to connect with your ancestors because you think you're not connected to them? You don't know them. You don't understand what ancestors mean. The more I do this work around ancestral healing and grief ritual and looking at names and what it means, I'm really surprised because sometimes I just think, oh yeah, everybody knows that. Representing our ancestors, representing our stories, my program that I do regularly, yeah, it's about ancestors. However, there's a slight twist to what I do. It's like using using grief ritual to make space to honor our ancestors because they're not far. Every time I talk about the past, I always point this direction. I don't know why, but they're not in the past and they're not in the future. They're right here. So sometimes we're blocked. The connection is not as clear because we're carrying so much pain, so much grief, and we're not honoring the grief. When you honor your grief, when you honor your pain, when you honor your struggle, your heart opens and it opens you to what is already here so you don't have to search for it. You remember, you recognize that you are your ancestors. They live in you, you live in them. They passed life on to you and they passed on your bones, the blood, the cells. They passed it on. All the cells in your body was passed on. So whether you know them, you're not going to know your ancestors. If your ancestor is just your mother, your father, because they're on the other side. That's what we call ancestors. Loved ones. Then they're spiritual ancestors. But blood ancestors, your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents. You can go further down if you want to. Further down, further back, further back. And you can go forward. And you are the one in the middle holding it together. So the blood that is flowing through your body did not just come out of nowhere. It came out of the cells that became you. From your mother's DNA gene, from your mother's egg and your father's sperm. They brought stories, histories, energetic imprint, and impact. Imprint that impacted you. That came together literally when they did. Bam. And you became another story. And then you start growing parts. You are your ancestors. And in the West, we're afraid of the dead. Actually, that's not true. We're miseducated. In some circles, they celebrate the dead in a certain kind of way. We call it Halloween. It's all about candy. We celebrate the dead by horror movies. And it's the best movie that came out, the best movie of the year. You must see it. Even if it's Nope. And you got to go see Nope. I'm going to promote that even though I ain't getting nothing from it. It's quite a good movie. That's all I'm going to say about that. But we celebrate those who are not here, the dark, the shadow, the invisible. However, when we do it individually, like I'm going to take some time to really connect with my mother, to connect with my grandmother, my grandfathers, my grandparents. Like, oh, you're into that ancestral thing, that woo-woo thing. I bet you hug trees. Trees give you air to breathe. What's wrong with you? So the ideas and the medicine and the truth that's here to sustain us is sometimes demonized, ridiculed, while at the same time it's sold to us. And then we buy into it. I remember when people used to say to me, oh, so you're from Nigeria. What tribe? What tribe? So you have a tribe? Huh, interesting. You got a tribe. So what was it like to be in a tribe? Like, it's slow enough for me to catch it. Shut the flip up. And now everybody's a glamorous thing we're doing the spiritual. I found my tribe. And more of us, we're seeing the conversation about ancestors is everywhere now. Life has traumatized us enough for us to sit our behind down and say, okay, who am I? What am I? And the questions continue. What is that one thing you believe? Once you achieve it, once you get your hands on it, you will be exactly where you need to be, where you've always wanted to be, where you're dreaming of being. Like there's one thing that I need. Well, maybe not one, maybe there's more than one, but there's one thing. If I can just get my hands on that. So it could be a relationship, it could be something to do with money, it could be moving to another country, it could be getting a new car, a new apartment, a new device, a new phone. If I can just get a phone that works, if I can, whatever it is, what is that for you? And here's a question that everybody can answer. You can all answer all the questions. But I feel like this is a kicker. Because there are times, well, let me not go ahead of myself. What would it take for you to accept that your life is perfect? Not just that life is perfect. Some of us can't even buy into that. It's like, what do you mean? Okay, no. I was thinking about the questions and then you messed around talking about life is perfect. Okay. Stop right there. What would it take for you to accept that your life is perfect? What would it take? I mean, it'd be good if you share. Don't just listen. Share. Share in the chat box. Share on IG. What would that be? What would that be for you? What does that look like? What do you think that is? What are you hiding? What do you think is a secret that you don't want people to know about you? But every time you show up, it's just oozing out of you. Maybe you're looking for the perfect relationship. When you answer those questions, maybe in hearing my questions, you connect with a different question. When you're willing to sit with those kind of questions, oh, you will see the light. You will see the light. You will see what is great about you. Oftentimes, whether, across the board, human beings, countries want to celebrate history by talking about what was achieved, but very rarely want to talk about the trauma that was caused, the trauma they caused, the injustice to get to where they are. We do it in our own lives too. and talk about our achievement or judge ourselves by the lack thereof. But we don't always want to talk about the pain and the struggle it took to get to where we are. And because we don't take time to really look at what is happening, sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. Because we don't sit and go, wow, there are things that I'm challenged. There's some things that are challenging me. There's a prayer that I find myself, I've been praying for years and years and years, and I don't know why I'm still praying the prayer because it seems like God ain't listening. I don't know why I keep praying the prayer. But if you're willing to just look at those things, I almost hear a sound like a one of those Star Trek-y kind of movies, shows. When you're willing to look at the places where you're scared, afraid, the light will go bzzz, just the light comes on. You see yourself as the light, so you're no longer chasing the light. Whatever you chase will always be one step ahead of you. Whatever you chase will always be one step ahead of you. And whatever you push away will push back. Whatever you accept will be one with you. So Ashley said, I get there when there is enough stillness and enough silence. I'm not sure which one of the questions you're referring to. However, I can spin off that. Like having enough stillness and enough silence. I don't know. I mean, you often heard me say parenting is the highest form of spiritual practice next to romantic relationship. And I would say creating space to be still long enough. Creating space to listen to silence is another highest form of spiritual practice. Because when you sit down and shut it up and go down inside your own being, you get to hear, feel, connect, sense that your life is a Bible that's still been written, that your life is a holy book, that your story is a story that will inspire other people. You actually remember that you are so much more than all that you've learned through religion, through spirituality, through the psychologists, the therapists, the social whatever, the experts. Like you learn so much about yourself from others, but when we sit long enough and we make it a practice, it's being in a relationship with the beloved, with the divine, so that you can hear clearly. And even if you say, well, I'm not sure if that's me or if that's God. Well, guess what? It's coming from the same place. The fact that you can think, you're using the God stuff to think. So if what you're thinking feels too good to be true, sit with it long enough and then ask, is this the highest and best? You will know. Thank you, Ashley, for clearing that up for me. So Ashley said, I get there when there is enough stillness and enough silence. And the question was to perceive life, your life, her life, as perfect. So then the question for anyone, Ashley and all of us is, can you perceive your life as perfect even when you feel like you don't have enough stillness, that there isn't enough silence? Or else you just might be searching for something that's not missing. I'm not saying you're doing this, Ashley, and I thank you for sharing that. Or maybe you are, but we can all relate. If someone is thinking it in the group, somebody else can resonate with it. Sometimes even we talk about meditation, and you got to meditate. You got to get still. Yes. But are you willing to go beyond belief? Like, even if I don't sit still long enough, even if I'm just too busy, that is true that I'm too busy to meditate, to sit for 1 hour. That sounds like a judgment, but I'm not judging. I'm just dramatizing it. That even though it's true that I can sit for an hour, 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 second, what if I am still tapped into God? What if it's even in this noisiness, there's not enough silence? I got a parent, I got to go to work, I got my second job, I'm trying to pay my bills and my student loans and council tax in UK and whatever it is, and taxes and whatever. Can I accept that my life is perfect? That's called transcending. That's a transcendent mindset. You don't have to do to be. We don't have to do to be. We just got to be so we can do. And then we can have a different experience. Because even when I say, okay, I've spent some time meditating, I feel yes. And yes, trust me, you're listening to a man who loves his quiet silence. I took time off last week because I needed to be with me. I needed to recharge. And I went back and forth. Oh my God, I'm not even going to give it energy by even repeating what I was going. I said, no, I know what I need. I know what I desire. I know what my body's asking for. I needed to stop and recharge. However, okay, let's be transparent here. Even the show that I did 2 weeks ago. Now, you do something and it is what it is. And then you look back. Sometimes you affirm yourself. Sometimes you judge yourself. There were times when I'm saying maybe I shouldn't have done that show. However, I didn't get guidance. I didn't feel like I shouldn't do the show. But my mind would go, well, you were feeling kind of vulnerable then and you weren't really yourself. That's just a mental, mindless chatter. Just intellectual masturbation. And it's fine. Because what it also did was me recognizing where I was last week and recognizing I could feel my body, my mind, my spirit just needs to take a break. I had a reference point the week before. Like, yeah, this, who we are, who you are, doesn't need to be hard. Life is simple. It's complex, but it's simple. It's as simple as breath. Since we've been talking, since you've been listening, since you've been typing, how many times have you thought of the fact that you're breathing in and out? Probably once, if maybe at the beginning, you probably thought about it when I said, let's take a deep breath together. Then you probably hadn't thought about it until now. But guess what? Life was doing what life does. Life was breathing you. It was breathing me. That's the kind of simplicity that I'm talking about. If life depended on us to remember to breathe, it would be a quiet planet. But you know what? The divine wastes nothing. Even that would be beneficial on some level. So, one of the things when I shared something earlier about when you are aligned, when you are listening, the divine will bring what you need. The idea of this show came to me about 4 or 5 days. And this morning, Spirit dropped something into my awareness. Just placed it in front of me. And it was on Facebook. And India Ari is the one that delivered it. I'm a fan of India Ari. I love her mind. I think, when people use their mind for a greater cause, for something higher than themselves, I love that. I find it attractive. People who I'm drawn to, it has to do with the way they're using their mind, and their mind is anchored in the heart. Now, it doesn't mean I agree with everything that they say, whoever it is. Even people I call my mentors, some things I'm like, okay. Because we are all expressing the divine based on our own point of view. Your point of viewing the divine is different from my point of view. Now, there might be some similarities, some intersections, some way interlaps. Okay, wait, okay, interlaps. I like that. Interlaps is another word for intersection. But we all have different points of view. So anyway, India reposted a short clip of a song, and she's one of the people. The group is called Beautiful Chorus. Check it out, Google it. And the song is I Am. Now, I've heard the song before, and it's, like sometimes you listen to a song and you just know you like it, but you don't actually really get it's an unconscious recognition. So today, when I saw it and India Ree wrote some of the lyrics, I was like, how perfect. So I went looking for the song, Beautiful Chorus, featuring India Ree. You can find it on YouTube or YouTube Premium. And I'm going to read some of the lyrics. I'm not going to read all of it, but it's quite rich. So the song starts with saying, welcome magic and wonder, brilliance and grace. Think about that for a minute. Yeah, I'm going to just stop with this because I want us to just enjoy it. Like, lick it good. It's like, ooh, welcome magic and wonder, brilliance and grace. What does magic mean to you? What does wonder mean to you? Brilliance, the divine light, your inner splendor. That is an expression of the divine. Grace. Ooh, grace. The grace of God, the love of God, that no matter what you do or don't do, you're loved. So let me see if I can, because I can do a whole sermon, teaching, lecture on the lyrics. I'm going to just read it now. Welcome magic and wonder, brilliance and grace. Welcome joy, satisfaction, pleasure and strength. Welcome essence, beauty, presence, time, spirit, form, and space. Welcome excellence in every blessing, sacred and pray. So this is the part that really aligns with today's show. And it's like, yes. When I do the show, Spirit just leads me to a book, leads me to a video of things. I hear things I need to hear that I just put together. I'm the producer, but I'm the co-producer with the divine, or maybe co-executive producers. Maybe the divine is the executive producer. But anyway, that's neither here or there. Check out the chorus of the beautiful chorus. What I seek, I am. What I want to know, I understand. All I wish I could, I can. Who I want to be, I am. Woo. Let that just touch you. Even if intellectually you're analyzing it, just breathe. If it feels overwhelming, just breathe. What I seek, I am. What I want to know, I understand. All I wish I could, I can. Who I want to be, I am. When we know that, we no longer are searching for something that we think is missing, because we recognize it's not missing. I am who I want to be. I understand what I want to know. What I'm seeking, searching for, I am. And when we're willing to follow that thought, that truth, that idea, it brings you back to yourself. So you feel like you've gone from order to disorder, and now you're reorganizing, reordering your life and discovering what is new. My life is already perfect. And there are times that I experience this life, my life, as if it is not perfect. And when I do, I just accept that I'm experiencing my life as if it's not perfect. So I'm going to just sit. Wow. Imagine that. Even in the imperfection of my life, I still have breath. Whew. You may pick up a song, a book in that place of imperfection. Because sometimes when you feel like something is missing or you don't have something, it's your spirit, your soul nudging you to reach for more. You're here to transcend the external reality. And when you transcend the external reality, when you transcend what you see with your physical eyes, you can now be what is needed. You can now be the love, the face, the arms of God. You can now be the light in the darkness because you are made of light. You are light. You are made of the same stuff, the substance that the stars are made of. That's what we're told. And I believe it. Why? Because when I look at the stars, something moves in me. There's a sense of awe and wonder. There's a recognition. There's a remembering. There's a remembrance. There's a reconnection. It's like, oh. And I know, you know, we know, the darker it is, the brighter the stars. That's not always our reality now, unless you live in a country or go on a retreat. And when it's dark and you see the stars, oh my God, it's so beautiful. So take that metaphor, that message. The darker it is, the brighter the stars. If you are made of the same stuff, if you accept that you're made of the same stuff that the stars are made of, that makes you a star. We say it, you're a star, you're a shining star. So the darker it is, in whatever country you're living in whatever country you're in, or wherever you are in the world, at work, in the hospital, the darker it is, the brighter you get to shine without even trying. But when you do it with intention, oh my God, you stand out. You stand out and become the deliverer of love. You become the healing agent. You become the change agent. You become what the world is praying for. And sometimes when you're in that place, you may not feel like you're in that place. You just recognize that you're feeling kind of nervous. It's a different kind of nervousness. There's a sort of maybe excitement. Maybe there's a vulnerability, but you know the truth that yes, it's dark, but I am connected to the great I am. And I know that what I seek, I am. So in this chaotic environment, I am the peace that I'm praying for. What I want to know in order to help other people, I already understand. What I wish I could do to my friends, to my family members, to my neighbors in this country, I can. And I will. I wish I was more enlightened, more loving, more kind. You remember, I am, you are. I heard the song this morning, I read the lyrics, and I'm like, okay, Spirit, thank you. Now, the beautiful thing about the mind, and why it's sometimes hard for us to take this truth in, because the mind plays tricks. I was led to read something I've shared before. And let me see. I want to give credit. I don't know if it's the woman that's given credit for this quote. I'll find it. I'll Google it. But I want to read something. I want to. It was so funny and powerful, a demonstration of how the mind works. So the quote is, let me pull it up. Here we go. I'll tell you who it's credited to. It may be somebody else, but we'll go with that. Excuse me. Yeah, let's take a breath. And take a sip. Libation. Thanking the ancestors for being present. Because you can do your libation by drinking water. You're the ultimate altar. Everything that your ancestors are. But they are what they were. You're it. You're the elements. You're the fire. You're the air. You're all that life is. So whenever you drink, just imagine you're doing some libation. So let's go back to the quote. Diva Gwen. Grapes must be crushed to make wine. Diamonds form under pressure. Olives are pressed to release oil. Seeds grow in darkness. Whenever you feel crushed, under pressure, pressed, or in darkness, you are in a powerful place of transformation. Now, this quote is credited to, her name is Layla Delia, Lalahdelia. I don't know. This is what the internet said, that she's the one that downloaded it. So I'll go with that. And I remember when I saw this, I saw it as somebody. Actually, I'm going to read that. I wasn't planning to read this, but I want to highlight how the mind works. Like, we can hear things that work for us, but because we've bought into the BS of society, our minds have been colonized with things are just black and white. Even when when we are given the key of liberty, we throw the key away and refuse to be free. We want to stay in bondage. So somebody said on a Twitter, when in response to that quote, and they're referring to the person who posted this quote. They said, "I usually appreciate your advice and wisdom, but not this one. This wisdom is used as excuse to let people burn out, not help them get better." I laughed when I saw that. I didn't even I wasn't even planning to read that one, but this next one, I want to share. Where is it? Where did it go? Okay, I know what's happening. Because what I want to say before I read what I'm going to read is, there is light and there is shadow to everything. Everything. There is invisible side to everything, and there's the invisible. Now, we could make the invisible horrible, something to be afraid of. Yes, the gentleman, I think it's a man, sounds like something a man would write. Ooh, they're sexist. Okay. Let's see. That's irrelevant anyway. I see his point, or their point, or her point, that there must be a time where, you're under pressure, you're feeling crushed, you're in the dark, but you really need to just stop. It doesn't have to be either or. Now, the other part I want to read, because I had to laugh, it's like, oh, this person's mind is beautiful and almost dangerous. So to that quote on Facebook, this person said, laugh out loud, wine is a toxic poison. It's a toxic, no, wine, okay. Wine is a toxic, poisonous concoction that, by some measures, in parentheses, brackets, is the root of all evil. Diamond is so hard that nothing can penetrate it, rigid, isolated, and unchanging, but it will burn. Olives, when pressed, are edible for a short period, but they lose the potential to grow into something majestic and beautiful that can give birth to many new olives. The oil eventually is consumed or goes rancid. Yeah. Seeds growing in darkness will use all their resources and die unless they're given the nourishment of light, earth, and water. Growing in darkness leaves you withered and dead after you've consumed yourself. These are so this is what they wrote. The same person. These are demotivational quotes. The demotivational quote, DE motivational quotes. I guess basically saying it doesn't motivate people. The same way God is used to oppress and abuse, God can be used to uplift and heal. God, the divine, the most high, the great I am. We get to choose. We get to choose. We get to choose if we're going to, what is that thing that they credit to Albert Einstein? You believe that everything, something about you believe that everything is a miracle or nothing is, or something like that. It is our responsibility. It is my responsibility. It is your responsibility to protect your prime real estate, your heart and mind. Your heart and mind. And when you protect it and you nurture it and you're willing to believe beyond the beyond, that there is some parts of there's aspects of yourself, of life, that one, you don't even have enough brain cells to understand. That no matter, you can gather philosophers, spiritual teachers, thought leaders, inspirers, inspirational teachers, motivational speakers, whatever. You can get all of them in one room, all of them in the world, then they still won't be able to answer the deepest question of who am I? Everything that they will share will give you some kind of insight into who you are, who I am, who we are. And there's more. It's a never-ending story. When you know that what you're seeking you already are, then you go about it differently. You just might be able to give yourself some permission to be at peace, to embrace a little bit more patience. We're getting ready to release this conversation. And I want to invite you once again, if you haven't done it, to like and share and subscribe to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/lifecoach Share it on Facebook. Or don't. Really. And you've heard me say this, I say this all the time. If by any chance or not, you found yourself having aha moments, so maybe you didn't, but you want to have an aha moment, or you want to embody, you want to rise above some of the things you're dealing with, that you're struggling with, that you can't make space for, make space with, can't accept, well, let's work together. Go to my website, lifecoachade.com, lifecoachade. I think I'm about to speak in tongues. Lifecoachade.com, lifecoachade.com. Let's do some transformational work together. Let's sit in that shadow space. Let's spend some time in the invisible and allow the courage to come up so that we can be the place, the shape, the form to make the invisible visible. And you might just find out that the invisible that you're running from, you're already that. Of course you can do it yourself. Of course you can go somewhere else. But what I can tell you, nobody does it like I do. And the way I work, the way I bring it to you, yeah, it's not, you're not going to leave just having heady stuff. Because I listen for a living. And everybody else do what they do the way they do it. They might just gaze at you. What's his name? Bracco? Just gaze for hours. And you look into their eyes. And before you know it, you start to cry. And you don't know why, or you're feeling so much love. You got some people who lay hands on you. You got some folks who would take off their jacket, their coat, and hit you with it. People falling over. Hey, whatever works. You will find what you need, and you will say yes to it when you're ready. You are what you're looking for. We are what we are looking for. We are the answers. It is important to be focused and pay attention to where you are putting your attention. Being intentional about your attitude, being intentional about the things that you're saying, not trying to do the right thing. That's not what I'm talking about. Sometimes we end up trying to do the right thing that we don't know what is right or wrong for us. You end up betraying yourself because you're no longer real. If you feel like you were moved and touched and inspired by today's conversation and you want to give a donation, I'm on PayPal, paypal.me/ADE, Anifowose, ADEANIFOWOSE. That's PayPal. Or just go to PayPal and type ADE. Well, I'm trying to see an easy way from you. There's now there's another one I have, but that's my personal PayPal. This is the business one. Cash App. You can use you gotta use, not you can. You gotta use if you donate through Cash App. It is $, not $, £, Life Coach Ade. And if you want to do Venmo, it's my name, Ade Anifowose. Whatever you do, I invite you, in addition, I invite you to allow what opened up for you, allow it to marinate, embody it. Move from intellectual masturbation and let the intensity of that intellectual masturbation move through your body so you can have a spiritual orgasm. When you have a spiritual orgasm, your energies, your vibration shift, it changes. You show up differently. You glow. You smile. Good morning. Oh, it's a beautiful day. Yes. And you can always go back there because it's not even any need to go back because you're no longer who you were before you had that experience. So when you find yourself searching for something because you think it's missing, you will remember, oh, something in me thinks it's missing. What is that? What in me thinks this thing, this person, this place that I'm searching for is missing? What is that about? Oh, I'm feeling unacknowledged. Oh, I feel like I'm not being acknowledged. I feel like I'm being taken for granted. My children, my husband, my wife, my girlfriend, my boyfriend, my partner, my job. I feel, you know, to tell you the truth, I feel like I'm taking myself for granted too. When's the last time I took some time to just be still and listen to silence? Oh, okay. So what I was searching for is actually not so much of a search as a recognition, is an acknowledgement, is a nudge to pay attention that I am that I am what I seek. When you raise your consciousness, you're less judgmental about your experiences, your thoughts. You discover that your fears, the things you're afraid of, becomes a gift. The things that make you anxious can lead you to your liberation. The people who get on your goddamn nerve can lead you back to yourself, can remind you about the power of forgiveness. Join me tomorrow on Soul Fulfilling with Vicky Byers and yours truly. Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, 2 a.m. UK time. Vicky won't be there tomorrow. So it'll be myself and Rashid Lani, who is a pianist, a great musician, a talented musician, a deep brother from South Africa, as well as Lona Elias. So join us, join the conversation. That's every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, 2 a.m. UK time. And libsyn.com, libsyn.com is the place you can go to if you are thinking, feeling of starting your own podcast, looking for a podcast hosting site. Check them out. See what they're offering. They offer a lot. And if you decide to sign up, make sure you use my promo code. You don't have to, but if you do, you get some goodies. Promo code is ADE. So whenever you sign up, one thing I would say is don't sign up on the first of the month, period. If you want to know why, email me. But if I'm giving you a promo code and I say don't sign up on the first, you don't even need to be asking questions. Let it be. You can sign up anytime from the second of the month. If you sign up on the second, you get that whole month free and then the second month free. If you sign up today, you get the whole of, August, and then you get September free as well. I love you. I bless you. I appreciate you. And I thank God for you. It is time to release this conversation. And today is almost on time. What else do I want to tell you? Other than to remind you, I won't be here next week. You're most welcome, Ashley. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll be away for 5 days next week for wellness retreat, 5-day retreat, which I'm looking forward to. Once again, I love you, I bless you, I appreciate you, and I thank God for you. Be the place where love is expressed, whatever that means to you. Share the show. And whatever you do, multiply this consciousness. And just as important, you know what I'm going to say? Be you. Be you, boo.